It's Monday, therefore it must be book talk time. Today we have Mr. Riley to share some of his favorite books.
I'm here to talk about some great new books that are out there. You may have read some, you may not. They're all available to you, so listen in to hear if you like some of these books. The first one I'm going to talk about is called Slacker. Raise your hand if you've read this one. Gordon Corman, right? Who knows Gordon Corman? Masterminds, Ungifted, the Kidnap series, you know all the Swindle, right? You know those? Schooled. Ooh, wow, you guys are good readers. This is his latest one, his brand newest one, and it's about this kid. His name is Cameron, and he's a slacker. He doesn't like doing much of anything except for playing video games. Now, all was good because he just wanted to hang out with his friends and play video games until he forgot something was in the oven at his house and his house burned down. So he got into big trouble with his parents. And so they said, listen, we want you to be involved at school a little bit more. You got to join a club. So he makes up a club. He makes up the club called the Positive Action Group. And he thinks he'll be the president, but no one's going to come. No one's going to do anything. Guess what happens?
Everyone comes.
Everyone comes. People want to start doing anything. Doing some things, some good for their community, for people in the environment, and something having to do with a beaver named Elvis. So he gets caught up in this world of do-gooders when he's just a slacker. Now it gets even more complicated because the high school do-gooder club gets a little jealous that this middle school do-gooder club is doing some good that's even better than the high school do-gooder club. And they're not so nice about it. There's a little bit of sabotage and things like that. I'm not going to tell you what happens anymore because you have to just read it if you want to find out what happens to Cameron and... Who's read this one? I Am Malala. The very first part. Chapter 1. It's kind of funny, her voice actually. I'm Malala, a girl like any other. Although I do have my special talents, I'm double jointed. And I can crack the knuckles on my fingers and toes at will. And I enjoy watching people squirm as I do it. I can beat someone twice my age at arm wrestling. I like cupcakes, but not candy. And I don't think dark chocolate should be called chocolate at all. I hate eggplant and green peppers, but I love pizza. I think Bella from Twilight is too fickle, and I don't understand why she would choose that boring Edward. As my girlfriends in Pakistan and I say, he doesn't give her any lift. Doesn't she sound like a cool kid? She is a cool kid, and I highly recommend for you to read this if you want to know all about her beyond just the news story. Now, this one's a treat. You know because it's got one of these on it. It won a Newbery Honor last year. It's called Echo. Has anyone read Echo? Or any book by Pan Munoz Ryan? Oh, she is. Esperanza Rising. That's really good, isn't it? This is her newest one. This is a really interesting book because she did something so cool, so unique. Usually we follow characters through the story. This one you have to follow a harmonica through the story. What? A harmonica? Yeah, a harmonica. It's the central character of the story, but not really. It shows up, but it's not just any harmonica. It's kind of a magical, mystical harmonica. In fact, in the opening chapter, you meet Otto, who buys the harmonica in a book from a gypsy. And he gets so engrossed into the story, he finds himself lost in a forbidden forest when all of a sudden the characters from the story he bought and that he's reading appear in front of him and help him. Flash forward, the harmonica appears later on in Germany to Friedrich, a boy who is living there just when Hitler comes to power. Then the harmonica appears later on to a boy named Michael who lives in Philadelphia at a home for poor kids. Finally, the third part, big part of the story, there are really 4 parts with Otto. The third big story is with a girl in California. And so you trace this harmonica across these 3 different stories, but they all kind of end in a magical, mystical way with a miracle at the end of each of those little stories. You can tell it's a little bit more challenging of a read in that it's longer, but is it worth it? Oh, so worth it. Now tell your partner, which of these 3 would you go for? My 7th grade Life in Tights. Now, how many of you made a book trailer before? You made a book trailer? A lot of publishers nowadays are making book trailers, kind of like movie trailers, to get kids' attention. I found this trailer online for this book. Check it out. Tell the person next to you, what do you think this book is about? What do you know already about this book in the trailer? He has these crazy moves in dancing. It looks kind of like ninja freestyle. And his friends really think it's good. And they do some YouTube videos and stuff like that. Well, the only thing he wants is to earn a summer scholarship at the dance studio called Danceplosion. What his dad wants is for him to be a football player. So there's some tension right there. There's also some other tension because his friends don't like Danceplosion. They're saying, no, don't go to the studio. They'll make you do all the rules of dancing and do the, structured dances. You're a freestyler. You don't need that stuff. But he just wants to win the scholarship. So he asks another person who's not in his friend group, the snobbiest girl in the school, to help him. So you can see that there's some tension with friendships, there's some tension at home, there's some tension within himself as to who is he? Is he a dancer or not? And the book ends in a really exciting audition that I'm not going to tell you what happens. Okay, 4 books. Pick your best. What do you like so far?
Tune in next week for more Book Talk Mondays.